Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, your review podcast tied to streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, etc., etc. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya Don Fisher. How's your week been?
Well, the week's been good for the most part. I did finish Horizon Forbidden West. 100% completed it. Took me about 105 hours roughly to get to find every possible thing, scan every possible variant of every possible machine, unlock all pieces of legendary armor, weapons, upgraded them fully. I can one hit kill the hardest enemies in the game. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Of course, watch the things that we're supposed to watch for this week. We're supposed to go see Batman, but the person I was supposed to go see it with ended up not being able to go for whatever reason, and then they tested positive for COVID yesterday.
Dodging bullets like Neo over here.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely glad that didn't happen. Still want to see Batman, but it was just like, okay, Misty's agreed to take me, so hopefully we can go see it this Friday. Um, you know, but other than that, oh yeah, the shower's on the fritz. So I just want to wash my ass. I just want to wash my ass and not feel gross because I haven't showered in a few days. Ooh, she's not showered in a few days, people. There's no hot water to the shower. There's hot water to the kitchen sink. There's hot water to the bathroom sink, like scalding hot. Shower? No, no hot water there. And it turns out there is a cold water flow regulator that is it's no good and it needs to be replaced. And the local lumber supply store and hardware store here in town didn't have one. And the apartment complex's maintenance guy's going to try to get one at the Lowe's home improvement store in the town where he lives today after he gets off work and goes home, and then try to attempt to replace it tomorrow. And if that doesn't resolve it, then we have to resort to a plumber, which it's not our financial obligation, and the apartment complex has to pay for that, but it just sucks that it might be another day or 2 days before I can take a shower. And well, I mean, I could take one, but it'd be a cold one, and fuck that. It was 34 degrees this morning.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's anyway. Other than that, my week's been pretty good. What about yours? How's your week been?
It's been fine. Nothing too noteworthy. Just a lot of work, and then off and on trying to play Horizon Forbidden West. I pulled up because I wanted to see how many hours I have into it, but I was also noticing on how often I save the fucking game, and I was like, oh, I feel like I save it a lot less than that, but it's the quick saves the auto saves I was looking at, and it auto saves like every 2 minutes. So
yeah, it auto saves a lot.
Yeah. Because like I'll save it at every fucking bonfire I find, like period or campfire or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a thing, but no, I have 14 and a half hours into it. So I'm doing strictly story. I don't know if I've expressed that earlier, but yeah, I don't. 9 times out of 10, when I play a single player game, I try to play it on easy and just get the story because that's what's entertaining to me. Unless I'm like really, really, really into, the world and playing it. So like, Spider-Man, I completed everything, 100% of it because I enjoyed it so much. And then Miles Morales was the same thing, even though that was a lot shorter. But like, and then I'll listen to everything. But for the most part, I just play story because I'm not a completionist by any stretch of the imagination. And if I'm missing details on something, I'll usually listen to the person that did put those hours in.
AKA me in this instance.
Because I think I've talked about it. Like, I had arguments about Mass Effect with people who didn't pay attention like I paid attention.
Yeah.
Because I put an absurd amount of hours into Mass Effect. Not even an absurd amount of hours, just an absurd amount of attention. Because I fucked up in that game a lot. And that the reason was because I didn't complete 100% it. I did not go to every single planet in Mass Effect 2. Like, insane amount of hours some people put into that and still didn't pick up the information I picked up. But it's like if somebody says this thing doesn't make sense in the game that we're both playing, and then the other person says, well, it does if you listen to this person say this thing at this point in the game, you should probably listen to that person. Just saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is what I've done with Maya. Because I'm like, I pay attention to the main story. There are parts of the game that I will not pay attention to that closely because I just don't fucking care. For example, the first of the 3 choices you can make to get the thing, you have to deal with a whole tribe's like problem.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I did not give a fuck. I'll kind of explain it when we're done streaming so I don't spoil it, but like...
No, I know what you're alluding to.
The game goes, here's the problem. The Earth is fucked. Solve that problem. And I go, great. But along your way, there's these teeny tiny problems you have to solve. And I'm like, fucking... Do you see the issue that I take with a little bit of it?
It's like, yeah, what you need's here, and I'll give you access to that, but you got to do this for me first.
The one in Vegas made sense. That one made sense. For a number of reasons. And the third one makes sense too. It's that first one that I was like,
No, I get you.
But that, them's the breaks, I guess. But anyway, I'm enjoying the game. It's a lot of fun. I'll sometimes stop if there's like a bunch of enemies to fight just because it's kind of fun to fight enemies.
Oh, yeah.
But,
especially Scorchers, that made you audibly scream a little bit and you tweeted a little poop may have came out.
Dude, I fully thought it was still on the other side of that rock. Like, 100% thought it was still there. I drop out of that menu and it's in my face. Like, if I had a headset connected, you would have heard me go, oh! Like, fucking legit scared the shit out of me. By the way, go to Chub Rock Geek on Twitter, or at Chub Rock Geek on Twitter, and you can see that clip. I posted a couple from the new mode in Fall Guys and a few other things. I just posted one as the recording of this that I found a little glitch, little problem. It was funny to me though. No, but I got to see Batman. What's up?
What was the glitch? Oh, I see that. You fell through the floor.
Yep.
Wow. That's wow.
Walking into the fucking FOB.
And you're in the ether there.
Yeah, the abyss.
So you did get to see Batman.
Yes. I got to stay with my buddy and his kids, and we all thoroughly enjoyed it. I hate to sound hyperbolous, but it is legitimately the best on-screen Batman we've had to date. It beats out the first like Michael Keaton one. It beats out Dark Knight in my mind. Like it's fucking fantastic. Is it any kind of Batman you've seen before? No. It's way, way, way more grounded of a Batman. It would be hard to put this Batman in the same world with Superman and Wonder Woman and shit like that. It'd be difficult for a lot of reasons. And you'll see what I mean when you see the movie if you haven't yet. But it's because of how grounded it is. It just wouldn't make sense. But that's also why I liked it. And I can't wait to see more of that particular universe. That particular Batman universe that Matt Reeves is creating. And for anyone who's on the fence about Ryan Robert Pattinson as like a good Batman, put that shit back in your ass. He fucking kills it. He fucking kills it. So.
Well, I never had a doubt that he would. I was one of the people who were saying he's going to rock in this role.
I kept telling people, if you're concerned about him playing Batman, that tells me how little of his work you've seen after Twilight. That legitimately tells me how little of his work you've seen after Twilight.
Yep.
A role in which he hated, by the way.
But I don't blame him for doing it, though. I'm sure he got paid fat stacks of cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's doing better than any of us.
Well, it's funny because most Twilight
out there listening,
most Twilight fans are probably also Harry Potter fans, and they completely forget that he killed it as Cedric Diggory. But no, let's fucking focus on the fact he was a twinkly vampire in a fucking trilogy of movies. Drives me nuts. People drive me fucking bananas. Oh, the fucking gay cowboy is going to be Joker. And now who's one of the top Jokers of all time? Fuck off. Anyway, angry Greg. People have dumb opinions before. So we're going to review two things today. We're going to be talking about episode 5 and 6 of The Marvelous Miss Maisel and The Boys Presents Diabolical. Both you can find on Amazon Prime. We're going to start off with Marvelous Miss Maisel. So, episode 5 and 6. I watched them when they aired, or not aired, but dropped. So I'm a little fuzzy on exactly what happens in the episodes. A lot does happen. But I'm trying to focus on like what happens.
Okay, well, I've actually got a synopsis pulled up of each episode here on Wikipedia. Episode 5, How to Chew Quietly and Influence People.
That's right.
Susie interviews potential secretaries. May agrees finally to meet Joel's parents and then cancels. Midge and Susie attend Shy Baldwin's wedding reception because, remember, they got the invites to be there at the wedding, and they couldn't figure out why. Abe's lawyer assures Abe and Asher there's no federal case against them. Oh, wait, I skipped one. Never mind, that was last episode. Midge causes minor mayhem, then privately confronts Shy, who is unaware that his PR staff was the ones that invited her. He didn't know why she was there. And they had their fucking, all right, let's have this come together meeting and see what's what. And for a minute, it seemed like they were going to try to patch things up, and repair what she thought was a friendship. But she also says, no, you were never my friend. I realize that now. Good luck to you. And he's like, I really do miss your brisket. And she's like, I'll send your wife the recipe. This whole thing was put on because it's a new management team.
That's right.
That has taken over his career, and they're handling his career. They fired his best friend, who was his manager before, fired the original band. Yes.
Can I tell you how I think Shy Baldwin's story is going to end?
How?
Really, really, really fucking sad.
That's how I think it's going to go, too.
Yeah. I think that Shy is extremely unhappy right now, and being that unhappy is going to lead to depression. And he's going to feel trapped, and he's going to see no other way out.
Yep.
And it's going to be a fucking devastating moment in that show.
I think you're possibly right. Because when, it turns out the PR team, they invited Midge and Susie there to attempt to pay them off in exchange for their silence, which she had already given him her word that she would never speak to anybody about it, and hadn't up to that point.
And Susie, by the way, fucking like having to turn down thousands of dollars,
which would have been hundreds. It would have been $1,200 for her because she gets 10%, and they offered a maximum of $12,000.
And this is also like 1960 money, so it's The
Yeah.
economy hasn't taken a shit yet. Well, it did at one point, and now it's
Let's see
anyway.
what that would be in current dollars. Inflation calculator. So 1960, the a dollar in 1960 is worth $9.50 today. So $12,000
times 9.5. God damn.
it's $113,978.92. That's
a lot of fucking money.
Susie
For
would
somebody in their positions, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Susie getting her 10%, that would be the equivalent of today someone getting $11,397.89.
For
So,
for her company that she's trying to get off the ground, that would have been a big thing. That would have been big for her.
I mean, that would cover expenses for 6 months, I'd say, for her at the time. You know?
Yeah. But it was very funny watching her having to turn that down. Like it was like this super important scene to Midge's, character and stuff like that. And like you have that comedy part of like you're just like, no, like 5,000 would go a long way, Midge. No, we don't even want 5. So fucking funny.
It's like 8,000. Oh, that's a new Cadillac. And, all the hats you could buy. No, fuck your 8,000. We don't want it. And they're like 10,000. She's like 10,000.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, she's great. Let's see. A very wealthy man by the name of Solomon Melamed hires Rose, Midge's mother, as a matchmaker for his 2 never married 30-something daughters.
That's also going to end very badly.
Rose found that Midge works at a strip club due to the matchbooks she found in her match, just this bowl that she had on her dresser, and then starts snooping through her shit and finds, this locked box, and she opens it up and finds all these newspaper clippings from the journalist, writing about her. And she goes down to the burlesque club where Midge is working and watches her sets multiple times throughout the night. And just seeing her at a burlesque show, watching all this go on, and they're like, the waitress comes up to her, what do you have to drink? She's like, water. It's a 2-drink minimum. I still want a water and 2 sherries, please.
I was like, there's no way Rose is going to order alcohol in this situation. Like, she's going to want to fucking be a little bit more relaxed because of what she's witnessing. And her sensibilities and Abe's sensibilities would be very upset to find that out. And that's kind of what happened there. So I'm waiting for, like, because in these episodes, Abe doesn't find out. He still doesn't know, as far as I know.
Yeah. No, he doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
Let's see what else happened in this episode. Susie agrees to help Sophie Lennon revive her career and gets her booked on a nationally televised Gordon Ford show, which is an evening talk show similar to like Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, Jimmy Kimmel, David Letterman, etc. Sophie wins the audience's sympathy during Ford's interview about her breakdown, and she later sends lavish gifts to entice Susie to continue being her manager. Susie hires Dinah as her secretary because she goes back to her office, remember, and it's late at night. It's like 10:30 at night, and this girl's just sitting there waiting. Susie's like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm here for the interview for the secretary position. You're 4 o'clock? She's like, 4 o'clock? You've been here since 4 o'clock? Well, actually, 3:30, I wanted to be early. She's like, fuck it, you're hired. Just...
I thought there was going to be
what about the other girls? He's like, she said, you can tell all the other girls they didn't get the job.
So I thought there was going to be a joke towards the end of this episode that the secretary chewed loudly. the one that she hired, because
Yeah.
there was a whole conversation that Susie had with
Fred. She called
with
Fred
Fred.
at the deli, the stage deli.
Yeah, and one of his big things was like make sure that whoever you hire doesn't chew loudly, because if you're going to be in the same space with them for extended periods of time, you don't want to have to deal with that. And I thought there was going to be some kind of funny joke at the end where like she finds out she chews loudly, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. They were like, nope.
No, she just happens to bring more and more kids to work with her each day that we see in the second episode that we watched.
Yeah.
But at the now here's at the end of this fifth episode, we see Midge was riding home in a taxi after her night of work at the strip club, and she tells her taxi driver to stop, and she gets out and runs down the sidewalk, and you can't see what she's running to or who. But you see the first thing in the sixth episode, you see very, very hungover and disoriented Lenny Bruce wake up in Ethan's room. Apparently, Lenny was passed out drunk in the street, and Midge found him and brought him home. And that led to a very awkward situation for him. And, you know, I think it put some, it added some friction to their friendship that she was never anticipating.
Yeah. Yeah, she full on expected him to be cool about it and to not act that way. And when he did, she was completely thrown off. She thought it was rude and was very upset by him just kind of acting very not insensitive, but God, very ungrateful.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because like he wasn't that he was ungrateful. He just found it to be odd. And this is going to play into who Lenny Bruce was towards the end of his life.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's another sad thing that's going to happen to Midge, either in these next two episodes or the fucking next season, because we know that next season's the last season.
Yeah, we know. Well, he didn't die. This is just 1960. He died in 1966. But yeah, he was only 40.
Uh-huh. I found, by the way, on a side note, I found out that everyone knows about Notorious B.I.G. getting shot and dying. Like, it was big news, it was a huge thing. No fucking clue that he was 24. Never knew that. 24.
Yeah. Tupac was only 27.
Good Lord. I thought they were older.
Mm-mm.
Damn. Yeah, because today, as of recording this, March 9th was the day he was killed. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It's also the 3-year anniversary of my friends Jason and Bethany, and the anniversary of the last day I wore pants.
And my little brother's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
it was funny.
It
was funny the other day because our friend Jason, you know Jason, the one that runs the Secret Santa, he and Bethany, they got married on March 9th 3 years ago. And it was funny because last Wednesday or Thursday, he went to see Batman. I think he went to an early screening on a Wednesday, actually. And one of our friends was like, hey, why didn't you take me? He's like, it was my anniversary and I wanted to spend it with my wife. I was like, I thought your anniversary was the 9th. He's like, how the fuck did you remember that? I was like, because you made me wear pants. You made me wear pants to your wedding. And I remember the day. That was the first time I had worn pants since 1998. You made me wear pants.
That's funny. I love that that's how you remember it, is just because you had to wear pants.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Well, back to Miss Maisel. Put your fucking phone down. I know state of play.
Put your phone down.
Fucking Sony State of Play is happening right now, and I can't watch it. So, watch it later.
All right. So, They have their
So,
confrontation.
yeah,
Lenny
that's
and
right.
Midge have their confrontation. He leaves. She's very upset over his behavior. Um, you see Susie. Uh, she calls up Joel and books her magician at his club. Sight unseen.
Yeah.
Sight unseen. Like, he works free for the first night. If you like him, you book him for a month. And that was the deal.
The amount of fucking patience that Joel has in this entire show, I wish I had a modicum of that. That man puts up with so much shit.
Yeah, he does.
Like,
He's a good character.
because right now he's dealing with the fact that he knows his mom is not going to be all about him dating a Chinese girl. Even though he's in love with her, it doesn't matter to his mom. And I know mothers like that. I've met mothers like that. They can't wrap their head around it. And that's what's going to happen.
My mother was like that.
That's terrible.
My mother is still like that.
That's terrible.
I can't tell you the amount of times that Misty has come home from my mother's crying. I can't. And I'd just be infuriated. Like when we only lived a mile from her and she'd watch Madison after school, Misty would go get her after school. And Misty would come home crying, in that 5 minute span. I'm like, what the fuck happened? What did she say? And she'd never tell me because she didn't want to get a fight started.
It's so ridiculous, but
it is. It is.
So yeah, so he's dealing with that. He's he's still dealing with he has to deal with Midge because they have kids together. He's dealing with his mother constantly trying to set him up with another woman, to which he finds a workaround on that. He just tells them that he's dating a girl. And then he's trying to run the club, which is he's in a way butting heads with the his girlfriend's fucking parents because they own the place technically and he's renting it out, but he's too successful. On top of that, he's got fucking Susie showing up from time to time asking for help with Midge, or in this case, hey, put my fucking magician on your stage sight unseen. It's like how this guy has doesn't have just straight gray hair at this point is beyond me.
Yeah. I really enjoy his character though. How his character has grown. It starts out in the beginning. He did such a scumbag thing, but he's really grown from that, and he's really trying hard. And it's like you want to see everybody in this show has their flaws, but you want to see them succeed at whatever it is they do.
That's what makes it such a good show is you have a series of characters that are deeply flawed. They all have their problems. They all have issues they have to overcome. And when you see them overcome that, you celebrate it. I think the scene in episode 1 with them on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Was only successful because we've had so much time with them. We've had 3 whole seasons with all those characters. We've grown to love them essentially. And to see that situation only exemplifies how much we give a shit about these characters.
Yeah, I don't think that scene would have come off as well as if it were, say, the second or third episode of the first season.
Absolutely. 100%.
You would have just been like, okay, that was a pretty outlandish, crazy scene. But
because even though Miriam is the main character of the show, she is the center focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the characters now have their own path that they're taking. They all have their own direction that their story is going, and like I love that there are characters in each of their lives, that characters that I love, but we don't spend as much time on them because they aren't necessary. We have Miriam, Susie, Abe, Rose, Joel. Am I missing one?
I mean, that's pretty much the 5 mains.
Yeah, they're the focus. I mean, and then we have also Joel's parents who are hilarious and they pop in from
Mm-hmm.
time to time. We have a bunch of characters in Susie's life. We have Lenny
We have
Bruce
Lenny
and Shy
Bruce.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have all those characters and stuff, and they're great. Like when they show up, like I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome. I remember when we saw Lenny Bruce for the first time in the season, and I got all fucking super excited. So, but yeah, one of the things about like especially this episode 6, seeing Lenny Bruce in that state, you know, harkens back to me of a bunch of stories that I hear about comics, about comedians, stand-up comedians to be specific. The people that make you laugh are probably the ones hurting the most on the inside. This is a common thread amongst comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Depression and anxiety is a real issue, and usually drugs and alcohol are the solution. And usually it catches up. Not every comedian is like this. This isn't like a one-to-one situation, obviously, but Lenny exemplifies that. He is a core tenet of that motif, if you will. And watching that happen in real time on the show, it was very disheartening in a good way. I don't think you're meant to be like, no, this is just interesting. I'm just going to casually watch this. No, you feel for Lenny, or at least you're supposed to if you have any kind of semblance of a soul. But yeah, I mean that's how I saw it. I was like, yeah, there's the funny bit of Abe and Rose just kind of casually talking to him, and he is super confused. Like that was funny.
Yeah.
But the fact that Miriam fucking scraped his ass off the side of the street, the fact he had no recollection of how he got into that the kid's bed, like that's sad.
And Zelda's standing there demanding his pants, and he's just like, "Where are my fucking shoes? You can't have my pants." And then when he's on the street, there's somebody gives him shit about his pants not being all nice and everything.
Yeah. But, you know, and I think the thing that, you know, also makes the show so interesting is just the constant state of stress that like each character has to go through, but it's a different kind of stress. So one of the best things about this show that I fucking love is the different directions the stress takes the characters. So we were talking about Joel's stresses. He has a lot of stresses in his life, but he seems
he's got a new one now.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. A big one. And then like Miriam and Susie have their different types of stresses, right? They have real stresses, real problems, but they're so diametrically different than one another's problems that when Miriam starts to complain to Susie about her stresses, Susie is like, please shut your fucking mouth. What you're saying is not important. Because to Susie's stresses, Miriam's problems aren't important. And then you got like Rose and Abe's stresses, and those are very not important to the other characters. And it's just super fucking fun to watch because you get that dichotomy from the different characters. Like I don't know, the show's expertly fucking written. So
I love the invitation. She gets that note slipped under her door, and it's this wonderfully, beautifully engraved, lavish. It looks like an invitation that just says one word on it: stop.
uh-huh.
And she's like, "What does that mean? You know, stop what?" She's confused, and then she gets invited to this luncheon, and she's like, "Oh, this is very prestigious. I'm a small businesswoman. I'm going to a luncheon," and it's established New York matchmakers. You know, these old ladies that have been doing this for years and years, and they're like, "You're unwanted competition cutting into our business, and you stop." And well, what if I don't stop? You know, we invited you here to be civil. We could have just, made you go away. They're
Yeah.
like implying that they would have her killed.
Right. But even
But
in that,
there's some. Go ahead.
I was like, even in that instance, the threat came off as a little empty in relation to every other character's problems. And
Yeah,
but to Rose, it was a very, very real threat. So it's
absolutely.
it's fun. It's a really fucking fun show. Um so the thing I don't know if we want to talk about the rest of six because I kind of cut you off, but
No, no. There's more things that happen in six that are even bigger than the things we mentioned. That you really just need to watch. It's very fucking good. We don't want to
yeah,
spoil
yeah.
everything.
It's one of those shows that like does a really good job at balancing comedy and humor. Um like 1 minute you're legitimately tearing up because of a scene and then immediately follows up with one of the funniest fucking things you've ever seen. I think we kind of talked about that last week with the Jackie's funeral and then Abe getting fucking roasted in the synagogue.
Yeah.
Like completely different fucking feels for each scene, yet we were dying. Like I was fucking cracking up. It was so fucking funny.
Oh, it
So,
was.
but yeah, well, why don't we go ahead and final thoughts and grade, and then we'll move on to Diabolical.
Yeah. Well, you know how Midge always has this problem. She can't seem to get out of her own fucking way. Boy, does that come to a fucking head at the end of episode 6.
Absolutely.
But yeah, everybody, you need to check it out. It's a great show. If you watch the latest episodes, as of the publishing of this, the final 2 episodes will be out. We'll be watching them next week. This show just gets better and better. You know, I give these 2 episodes an A+.
Yeah, 100%. I again, it's rare for a show to like completely keep my attention. To the point where I just put my phone down. I don't even like because I have really bad ADD. So if I'm watching something and my brain starts to wander and I have to pick up my phone to keep it focused, that's a problem. The show doesn't do that ever. Like I'm so focused on what these characters are doing. So I keep bugging the crap out of my parents to watch it because
They've
they have
never
access.
seen it.
No,
Oh my god!
they'll be sitting there downstairs going, "What do we watch tonight? I don't know. Well, let's see what's on. Let's check the services." And I'm like, Marvelous Miss Maisel. And they're just like, "Oh, Greg." I'm like, watch Marvelous Miss Maisel. So we'll get there. We'll get there one day.
You should actually go downstairs, turn on the first episode when they're both in the living room. Just turn on the first episode and say, "Watch this," and leave the room. Take the remote.
What I'm legitimately thinking of doing is one of these days when there's not a lot going on and they're both downstairs and it's like I would come home and be like, "You want to watch some TikToks or something like that?" Like I have a huge selection of TikToks and it's like a 2-hour block of our time just like laughing at dumb videos. I think I'm going to do it then.
Yeah.
Because I got hooked on the first episode, but I feel like 2 would be really good.
No, I agree. Well, before we start talking about the boys Diabolical, we wanted to make a little announcement here today.
Absolutely.
We, as all queued up, have joined a network of podcasts called the Nerdvana Network, and it's basically an organization of podcasts that are working together to promote each other, build each other up, grow our audiences, and we invite you to, as our listeners, to check out the Nerdvana Network and the shows that are affiliated with it. One being the Nerds of Spoken podcast, headed up by my friend Jason. Well, our friend Jason, but he did make me wear pants at his wedding. So,
What a jerk.
I know. Um, Another one is MPSP Theater 2.0. It's back with 3 of the original cast members, Nick, Sam, and Russ. That's the show I was a part of for a very long time. They're back on Saturday nights on their own channel on YouTube. Then there's also the Voice of Chaos podcast with our friend Tim K from Germany. Uh, and there's several others, but we're happy to be affiliated with this. We're getting in on the ground floor, so to speak, and just trying to help each other out. So, what we'll probably be doing from here for the foreseeable future is in between our reviews of shows and our discussions of shows is promoting the Nerdvana Network, each week or a show, on the network, bring up a topic of discussion or something, bullet points. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're excited to be a part of it and, looking forward to bigger things.
Yeah. Also, we're going to be running either us talking about it or audio ads in between the shows that we review.
Yeah.
So get prepared for that. That's going to be fun. But yeah, thank you everybody at the Nerdvana Network. Thank you, Jason, for inviting us in and let us be a part
Jason
of it.
Jason and Nick both actually extended the invite.
Okay. I mean, you just texted me about it, and I was like, done, do it. So, but yeah, I'm excited. Like, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. All right. Well, boys, Diabolical.
Yeah, boys, Diabolical.
So it is a anthology series, 8 episodes long, about 12 to 15 minutes, give or take, somewhere in there. But what's great about it is it's all written and directed and animated by different groups of people. And each animation has a different style to it. So I think we'll run down each one and kind of give our thoughts and then move on. So we're not, stuck on the whole topic for too long. So
yeah,
the first episode is called Laser Baby's Day Out, written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. And it's in the style of an American animated short, kind of like,
honestly, it's straight up Animaniacs style, Steven Spielberg 90s animation.
Yeah, what the idea behind it reminded me of was there are old Mr. Magoo episodes where he's just blindly walking and getting really lucky with obstacles in his way, and you have someone trying to stop him who's getting hit by obstacles, and they kind of took that idea, but the baby has laser eyes and can kill people. There's nothing really to say too much about this. It's just, I'd say the first half of the episode, it looks relatively wholesome. And then the second half is full on rated R gore. It's hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious. And that's the thing. If you're familiar with The Boys, this show does not shy away from the gore. Diabolical, these animated shorts, they get full on graphic with the gore, and it's fucking to hilarious effect.
Yeah, like if you are like at the point where you're like, hey, maybe The Boys is too much for my kids, this cartoon series is too much for your kids. Straight up.
Absolutely.
But I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I watch The Boys with my kids. I'm like, then watch fucking Diabolical with your kids. I'm gonna give Laser Baby's Day Out an A. I thought the animation was top notch. I love that there are not very many voices in it. Like, it's mostly just
no
laughter.
Voices. Yeah, it's just some noises, grunts.
Grunts and like maniacal laughter.
Yeah, but no spoken dialogue.
No spoken dialogue. But what's your grade?
I'd give it a B.
A B? Okay.
Yeah.
The second episode is called An Animated Short Where Pissed Off Soups Kill Their Parents. Written by Justin Roiland and Ben Bayouth. And it's 100% Justin Roiland's aesthetic. It looks like fucking Rick and Morty. 100%. Just FYI. But it stars like Gray Griffin, Caleb McLaughlin, who plays what the hell's this character's name in Stranger Things?
Oh, Lucas.
Right, plays Lucas. You have Parker Simmons, Ben Schwartz, Kevin Smith, Eugene Merman, Christian Slater, Keenan Thompson, Gary Anthony Williams. I mean, of course, Justin Roiland's in it. He's going to do a voice. But the general idea behind the episode is that there is a facility where the kids who get Compound V put into their system when they're babies, the powers that they get when they get older aren't conducive to being a superhero or a functioning product of society. So they're basically put into this home
or a money making ability like Vought loves to cash in on.
yes, thank you. I should have said that more so because that's the theme. They some of the powers are fucking hilarious. Like there's a guy who can turn into any animal, but it's mind and body. So he turns into a gorilla and he starts acting like a gorilla.
Yeah.
Um,
What was the one guy called? Titface?
I thought it was Booby. I like
Booby
Bobby, but
Face.
Booby.
Yeah, Booby Face.
Voiced by Kevin Smith, by the way.
He had a pair of boobs coming from each eyelid.
And a pair of tits on his face.
Just completely obscured any of his vision. There was. Let me look up.
There was Aqua who could just turn into water. That's it. He could just turn into water. That's it. He couldn't control it. God, it was so fucking funny though. But the basic
see if
plot,
it's got the names of their fucking characters in here.
Yeah, I was like, while you're looking for that, I'll finish the plot.
Agua. That was actually Miguel from the Karate Kid Cobra Kai series.
Oh, okay.
And Caleb McLaughlin did Mo Slow, the slow motion guy.
Him. Oh my God. So before you read those off, the plot is that these kids find out that Vought made Compound V and that parents would intentionally take money from Vought to get Compound V into their kids so that way they can make maybe money off their kids in the future or something to that effect. And once their kids were shown to not have money-making abilities, these kids were just pawned off. And finding this out, they go on a journey to find their parents and kill them. And some of the deaths are really fucking fun. Like, absolutely, my favorite one was Moslow killing his dad.
Yeah, he's like,
So
"What are you trying to do?" And he's like slowly putting his hands around his throat to choke him.
Yeah,
he's like, You're what? What are you trying to do to me? You're trying to kill me? What? Why are you? And,
oh. God, I was fucking cracking up with that. Like, there were so many funny bits where I don't remember which character it was, but one of the kids has his name is Flashback, and he's able to look at somebody's like past history or something to that effect. And he's like, well, what do these parents do? They seem fine. And it was like they killed puppies or some shit like that.
Yeah,
that's right. They made him like a fucking disgusting looking coat out of puppies. And and they were like, kill these motherfuckers. And like, I don't remember which character it was, but he just pulls out a gun and shoots him. Like, it was unceremonious as fuck. It was so fucking funny.
And there was one character, I can't remember what his code name was, but it's basically his power was he had like the heat of lava in his testicles and could burn you with them.
I think his name was Balls of Fire, if I'm not mistaken.
It may have been. I'm not finding anything for a listing.
There was Human Tongue, who was just a large tongue. That's it. But yeah, so the whole episode is basically that. Like, there's the ending bit is really funny because the main character you could say is Ghost, and she can't eat, she can't feel anything. She's just a ghost. So think of like Danny Phantom's powers without any of the powers. She's just a ghost. And she goes to kill her dad, but like she kind of possesses Moslow, but not really. She's just basically in the position. So that way she can like slowly kill her dad, and it's the knife going slowly into his fucking cheek. Oh my God, dude, it was so fucking funny.
And through the other side of the mouth and cutting off his tongue. And, yeah. Visceral.
But in the process of this, the Vought police show up and of course Homelander's there, and he lasers all of them just takes care of them all. And she's left alone. So she's plotting her revenge, I guess, at the end of the episode, but they don't really go too much into it. She's just there. But That was one of the funniest episodes. I'm gonna give that one an A plus. I think it was one of the funniest ones by far.
I think it was funnier than Laser Baby's Day Out. I'll give it an A.
Okay. The next one is called I'm Your Pusher, written by Garth Ennis, and is in the style of the boys' comics. Now, I want to make it very clear. This episode is not even kind of canon to the show. This is canon to the comics. Why? Because Billy Butcher looks like Billy Butcher from the comics.
Huey, or Wee Huey in the comics, looks like Simon Pegg. So guess who voiced Wee Huey in this short? Simon fucking Pegg.
And he does not look like the actor who plays
Jack
Huey right
Quaid.
now. He does not look like Jack Quaid. He fucking full on looks like the comic book version, which looks like a younger Simon Pegg. The second I saw him pop on screen, I paused it and then did that thing that Prime does where you can see who voices who. And I immediately took a fucking picture and sent it to you. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But even Homelander and Queen Maeve, and then there's the Jupiter guy, I can't remember his name. The Jupiter guy exists in the comics only. He doesn't exist in the show.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's why I was like, this entire episode is an animated bit from the fucking comic. I was so fucking stoked, dude. Like, I was incredibly happy to see that. And it was fully written by Garth Ennis.
Yeah.
Who wrote the fucking... dude. Like, straight the fuck up, A+ on that episode. I'm just going to...
Oh, absolutely. It was my favorite episode out of all of them.
Yeah, like... and the stars in it, by the way, are Kimberly Brooks, Macaulay Culkin. Or no, Kieran Culkin. My bad.
Kieran
Culkin.
Michael Cera. Jason Isaacs is Billy Butcher.
Yeah, Simon Pegg, as we said earlier, Kevin Michael Richardson, Anthony Starr is there's Homelander.
McElligott is Queen Maeve.
It was so fucking good. Like,
what it was about is basically Butcher confronts this drug dealer who goes by the name of OD, who deals directly to Vought Soups, and he blackmails them into giving the Seven a taste of their own medicine, essentially.
Yeah.
And the way it played out was glorious.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the ending of the episode itself because it's something you got to see, and it's a little surprising too. So, but it's 100% what happens in the comics. Like, one of the big things about the comics is that Butcher goes, like, he plays the long con all the time. That's less of a thing in the show. I'm not saying that he's not in the show, but in the comics it's a bit different how Butcher handles his shit.
Yeah.
And so the fact that, like, we got an animated episode of the comic is so cool.
Oh yeah, I want to see more of that.
Yeah, if they had decided to animate like, oh dude. Okay, moving on. The next one's called Boyd in 3D. This one is in the style of, like, French animation, if you will. Looks like a French comic, kind of. But the general idea is that Vought has an experimental cream that they give to Boyd after, like, Boyd is kind of trying to look more attractive for his neighbor that he wants to be with. Turns out that, like, the cream makes you look like how you think you should look. Muscular and, a chiseled jaw and basically changes your physical appearance. But
it's only temporary.
It is only temporary, yes. So he falls in love. Like, he goes to Cherry, who's the next door neighbor, and they fall in love. They have a date, they fuck, and then she goes to the bathroom, finds the cream, puts it on, and one of her favorite filters on whatever the Vought version of Instagram is, she ends up looking like that, which is like a cat girl, like ears and nose and a tail of a cat. They become mega fucking famous, the spokespersons for the cream, and but they fall out of love and they become too superficial to the point that they lose their entire sponsorship with Vought. And in one night of fighting for the last piece of this Vought cream, they eventually turn back into themselves and drift apart. And then one day he's in his room, he's upset, gets a knock on his door, and Cherry's there with a piece of his mail. They look at each other as they look naturally and fall back in love. Oh, and then we have a Black Mirror twist. The cream didn't actually work, and it was killing Boyd in the chair the entire episode. Oh, so fucking
Yeah. His face was melting off and shit. It was wild.
It was amazing. So, yeah, I spoiled that one, but whatever. I don't fucking care.
It wasn't as good.
I liked it. Didn't love it.
I liked it, didn't love it. I'd give it a C.
That's where I'm sitting on it. Yeah. Not one I want to watch again, but I did like the Black Mirror twist. The next one is called BFFs. It's written by Awkwafina, it stars Awkwafina. And it's in the style of like a Korean animated movie or animated short, cartoon, whatever you want to call it. That's where I'd put it anyway. But the general plot is Sky, voiced by Awkwafina, is trying to get weed and gets in the car with a shady guy who crashes into a pet store, specifically, I think, a fish pet store. Is freaking out
because he's trying to get away from the deep because he saw a billboard of the deep.
Right. Sky gets a briefcase hit to the back of her head, and she sees some compound V on the floor. She picks it up and pockets it. She's dropped off by the guy who still thinks he's running from the deep, and goes home upset, also high, because there's a whole scene where they're high. Takes the entire vial of compound V. She wakes up in the morning, has to take a shit, or at least she thinks she does, farts a giant cloud in the bathroom, suddenly has an approximately 6-inch to 7-inch tall
sentient turd with a marble that she swallowed when she was a kid for its one eye and a piece of corn for its ear. And there was a little string of something sticking out of its butthole.
I thought it was a worm.
I don't know. But a turd that decided to name itself Areola because it was a fan of that name.
Yeah. Because it had the exact same thoughts as Sky. That was the thing. It had the same memories and everything as Sky. So Vought like finds out about this and goes and takes Areola. She was in there. She gets back in because she said she lost her inhaler, breaks Sky out, flushes her down the toilet. Areola down the toilet. To which the deep like
tracks him to the sewer.
And Areola tells Sky while the deep is like standing in front of her, I'm not the one with the power. You're the one with the power. You've had the power this entire time. That's when Sky realizes that her superpower, thanks to Compound V, is controlling poop to create sentient poop.
Yep.
To which the deep goes, fuck this.
This is fucked up. He gets hit in the eye with a shit-covered butt plug, too.
That's right. A shit-covered butt plug. Oh my god, it was so fun. I was cracking up. The whole episode that it was leading up to was okay, but that ending fucking was too good.
Yeah.
It was too fucking good. But yeah, like, dude.
I just gotta say, Awkwafina, your humor, wow. Respect.
Very much so, yeah. 100%. I think I'm gonna give the episode a B+ because it was like a solid B- until the shit covered butt plug hitting him in the eye.
Yeah, I have to echo that. I was going to say a B+ as well.
Yeah.
Now the next one,
Nubian versus Nubian, written by Aisha Tyler. This one is anime inspired, according to this. It didn't look anime inspired.
The thing I'm looking at says it's the animation style of the Boondocks.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I would say American attempt at anime style. That's where I'd go with it. So like the Boondocks was that, Last Airbender was that. Like I can see yeah, whatever. Anyway. So the general plot is that these two soups have had their entire lives staged out for them by Vought. including a villain voiced by John DiMaggio, which I love. And even he was, hired to fight them, to make them fall in love. But their marriage was orchestrated by Vought, their entire relationship, their entire life. And they've very much fallen out of love. One of the funniest bits was the dad, played by Don Cheadle, by the way. He walks in there and he's talking to his daughter, and he says, your mother and I love each other very much. We're not getting a divorce. I want you to get some sleep and don't worry about anything. We're going to be fine. And then Aisha Tyler, as the mom, walks in and goes, so I want to let you know, honey, your dad and I are getting a divorce, like immediately after.
Yeah. And then she said, yeah, but that motherfucker's going to be buying you a pony, so it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's right. Also, fucking John DiMaggio was hilarious as that role. Like,
yeah, he was.
Like, fucking get inside. I don't want anyone to see. I don't want anyone to think I'm a pedo. And he was like, fuck you, Tyler. I'm not a pedo. To the guy across the street. I don't remember the guy's name, so I'm just saying Tyler.
Brian, I think it was.
But yeah, it was
like, I don't even have fingers. How can I be a pedo?
He like tries to open a soda can and can't. It was so funny. But yeah, the little girl basically convinces him to fight his parents so they can fall back in love. And it worked kind of, because the little girl realized very quickly that them getting divorced was probably for the better. And so the last shot of the episode is her being like, here's the divorce papers. You two please sign.
And I want that motherfucking pony.
I'm going to give that one a solid B-. Like,
yeah.
It was fine. It was okay. It had some funny moments, but overall it's forgettable.
I agree. A B- sounds fair.
Yeah. So, number 7 had probably one of the more down-to-earth and touching plots, and written by somebody you wouldn't expect. So I'm going to describe the episode, and then I'll tell you who it was written by, and you'll be shocked. By the way, this is inspired by Korean drama and horror, but it's 2 people, John and Soon-hee. John and Soon-hee are married. Soon-hee has cancer. She is going to die. John, in a frantic attempt to save his wife's life, as a janitor for Vought, he steals some Compound V, and he injects his wife with it. Suddenly, she is given powers, to which kill the Vought agents that come to take her, and likely kill John. They are escaping. She needs him to pull over. She gets out of the car. The Compound V didn't just give her powers. It gave her cancer powers, which also was a tumor, it looked like. It detaches itself from her body, effectively curing her of the cancer. But now it is a monster, and it has killed a lot of people and a lot of creatures. And there's this very touching moment where he's driving away with her, or he wants to drive away. And she says, no, John, you have to let me go. You have to let me go solve this problem. I know that you love me. And he's like, I just got you back. I can't lose you again. And she's like, it doesn't matter. I have to go solve this. And she runs into the forest and fights the creature, and the episode ends. And it's very touching, pretty sad. And written by Andy Samberg. The fuck?
Yeah.
The hell did that come from?
Yeah, it was very touching, very sad.
Very sad.
Beautifully illustrated.
Absolutely. I
really liked this one a lot.
Oh, no, it was great. It was fantastic.
I give this one an A.
Yeah, 100% an A. It didn't blow me away. It's not like... It's one of the episodes I would definitely use to get somebody to watch the show.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of person they are. But unexpected. Completely unexpected. Like,
no
everything leading up to this point was an attempt at comedy. some less than others, but it was an attempt at comedy.
This
And
one, not a drop.
not a
Of comedy.
drop of comedy. But I liked that kind of area that it took, because that exemplifies the boys. You know, if you watch season 1 and 2, it's not all funny. It's not all like some dude with a giant dick that he can control. You know, sometimes it's Billy realizing, or Butcher realizing, that he can't be around this kid, you know, or whatever, because he hates soup so much, you know, and so his wife like doesn't want to be around him. You get that sad moment. And that's kind of what this reminded me of. It was like that, you know, boys isn't always going to be fucking ha ha ha, they have a shitty power. Sometimes it's going to be scary, sometimes it's going to be funny, and sometimes it's going to be sad. So and the last episode of the season is called 1 + 1 = 2. Written by Simon Rakopa. Not exactly sure who that is. Probably a writer for The Boys, because this is the more this definitely takes place for sure within The Boys continuity. And the animation style for this one was very much like modern superhero cartoon. But it stars everybody that is in the show that's in The Boys, like well,
it has Giancarlo Esposito.
Thank you. I was trying to find the fucking cast.
As Stan Edgar. Has Elizabeth Shue back as Madeline Stillwell. Anthony Starr as Homelander.
But it's also it's the story is about when Homelander first joins the Seven, and his first essentially his first mission, and how fucking terrible it went. And a lot of that
it also gives you a lot of insight into why he is the way he is.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say, is that the trauma and stress that he suffered from the training and everything they put him through. You get to see that come out full force, and how destructive it actually was. But you also get to see kind of how like Vought and the other members of the Seven cover each other's backs, have each other's backs when it comes to those mistakes. And it's wild. Like, it's not anything you didn't know before per se, but you definitely get to see Homelander's first mission.
And very, very much worth watching. And I don't want to spoil any of it.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna say what happens in it, but I just, you know, it's good. It's very good.
I would say this one. I'd say this one, the comic one that Garth Ennis wrote, I'm Your Pusher, and the last one, John and Soon Hee, I think are my three favorites.
I would say obviously the one written by Garth Ennis, the comic book one. The one written by Justin Roiland.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll say 8. Yeah, were my favorites. I didn't like I didn't want to put John and Soon Hee in the top 3 for a couple reasons, but because I think that I think the Justin Roiland one is so fucking funny.
Oh, it is hilarious.
But yeah, did we give a grade to the last one?
We didn't. I'm gonna give it an A.
A- for me.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's The Boys Diabolical. It's 8 anthology. I hope they keep it going. I really do. I think this idea is so fucking cool. I like this idea because when you have something like The Boys, which you know shouldn't just be focused on a handful of characters. There should be more characters that we see. There's got to be more in the world that exists. I love the idea behind it. I love exploring, like, because other than the comic book episode, all of these exist within the show. It's all in a way continuity. And so I just love that. I think it's fun. So big fan of Diabolical.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of the boys, check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, agreed. So, all right, I think that's gonna do it for us this week. I can't even do the outro well, like I couldn't do the intro well. Next week we're going to be reviewing the finale of Marvelous Miss Maisel, which are episodes 7 and 8. Very excited about that. I feel like there's going to be tears, so I'm prepared as best I can be. We're also going to be reviewing the film The Trevor Project, starring Ryan Reynolds on Netflix, which I believe comes out the same day this episode drops. So there's that. No. Wait, yes, because today's the 9th. And then Friday is when the 11th is the episode. Anyway, both things come out on the 11th. My brain can't handle certain things. Make sure you follow us on the socials listed below. That's what we're trying to let you guys know if we add anything to the show. I doubt it, but that's where it'll be. Make sure you check out our Teespring store. You can get some merch with our cartoon faces on it. Also, all proceeds from that go right into the podcast, so helps us out in the long run. Also, if you buy something from us, let us know on social media, so we can give you a big old thanks and a kiss, virtual kiss.
I was going to say a virtual high five, but
no, and give him a kiss on the cheek, with your consent, of course.
This coming from a person who doesn't like to be touched.
Exactly. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. I've been uploading a few reviews here and there. I got the Cuphead show review and the Peacemaker season 1 review up. Also give it a follow, or no, it does not follow, it's a subscribe, and like the episodes of the podcast. Helps us out. Other than that, I don't have anything in my notes. Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name. Pardon me. Had to clear my throat. You can catch me on the podcast called Figure Banging on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel every other Wednesday night. This week we looked at the new Fans Toys Soundwave. Pretty great looking action figure if you're into cartoon accuracy. But it also has some great accessories to make it more like the toy version of the original 1984 Soundwave toy. So very cool figure. Check that review out. We had a lot of fun joking around on there. But yeah, that's where you can find me. What about you, Greg? Where can people find you?
You can find me under all socials under Chub Rock Geek. You can also find me doing stuff with my buddy Anthony over on Mission Start Podcast or Mission Start Tubes. I haven't done anything in a hot minute with him. I probably should. But yeah, we do video game stuff over there. So if that's something you're into, check that out. Again, thank you to the Nerdvana Network for having us a part of the network. This is very exciting. I can't wait to see if we, what we do in the future, kind of intermingle. Get to know everybody. Could be a good time. It's like a little party. It's like a virtual party that we're a part of now. It's great. But that's it. Again, Marvelous Miss Maisel, the finale next week. It's going to be exciting. I'm very excited for it. And the Trevor Project. I think this movie's going to be... There's a part of me that thinks this movie might suck. But
yeah,
that's cautious.
There's that potential. There's that potential for it. Potential for suckage.
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.